So we talked about classes and objects. Yesterday we used this code to talk to the Star Wars API, right? We know it works. We know it's a success. We know it's awesome. That's great, right? We don't want to touch that. I'm going to introduce a new concept with Git as well today. So what I want to do is I want to make a branch off my code so I can refactor it. So what does a branch mean? A branch means that I'm making a direct copy of my master. You know how we always say a git push origin master? We're on the branch master right now. I want to make a complete copy of that branch of master to a new branch. And on this new branch, I can go in and make changes. I can mess everything up. I can do whatever I want. And the code on master will not change.
Eventually you can push it into the master.
Yep. The idea is that when I'm done with my changes, when I'm happy with them, I can merge those changes back into master. So now I always have a copy of my code that's untouched, that's working, that's the best version. And I have a copy of my code that I'm currently working on. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
So I have my code here that I don't want to touch. It's working, I'm happy with it.
Yes.
So now I want to make a branch. So head back here to our terminal. So the command to create a branch, get branch, and then the branch name. Branch, OP, refactor. I always say try to keep these names meaningful. So, but short, and one word, or one connected word like that. So I've created the branch. Now I want to switch to that branch.
And I use still in master.
Exactly. I want to switch to that branch. If I list my branches, I'm on master, and I've created a new branch called Refactor. To switch to it, git checkout Refactor. So now if I do my git branch, I'm now on Refactor. And if I do my git status, on branch, Refactor. Nothing to a commit.
For best practice, how many branches would you have, say, if you're working on a project? Would you have more than two? More than one master? Or a master and...
So I'll answer this question with a big caveat. It's different per team. As we dive deeper into the Git workflow, we'll explore different ideas and methods. Traditionally, for me personally, and what's kind of what's considered a good best practice, is a branch per feature. So that can be I'm working on 3 features at a time. I'm working on 1 feature. We're both working on the same code. We're both working on features, so that's 2 branches.
So it's like edges of a website for like Star Wars. You would have a lightsaber branch.
Yep. So like.
And a.
So like right now, our only feature is a search character feature. If I wanted to add a search vehicle feature, I would branch this and start working on that. If we wanted to add a search planet feature, you would branch master and start working on that. Whenever we were done, we would merge our code back in to master. And then after we merge that branch back into master, normally that branch is deleted. So branches are on this idea of like a short-lived change. It's like, I'm going to make a change, do my change, go back into master, and delete my branch.
Did you do all this in PowerShell?
Yes. It's the same commands.
Okay.
So if we both branched from master,
Yep.
and how do you know that? How do we know that my code and her code won't conflict when we add it back?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Generally, that's up to you to be organized. And what happens is after you merge it back, GitHub will say, wait a minute, there's a merge conflict here. Figure it out. If it doesn't know, like if it can't figure it out.
No, like,
So just bringing things to my level here now.
Yeah.
I know Lexi is going to work on her blackjack. So let's say she branches now,
Mhm.
because she has her code working, and now she branches it and start working with the API of the different cards.
Yep.
Until she figures that out.
Mhm.
Once she figures that out, pushes it into the main JS she had, and now deletes whatever she was working at.
Yep.
When you push, is it automatic, or you just do a copy paste or something like that
So when you push where?
from the branch to the master?
So what it's doing under the hood, like conceptually, it's tracking the changes that she made to the files, and then it's going to apply those changes to the files in master. So if she added a couple lines here, maybe added a new file or two, changed the HTML structure.
Okay, the branch won't be empty. The branch will have the whatever you had on
Yep.
your main.
Yep.
Oh.
So now that we branched this, all of our code is still here. If I do an ls, all of my stuff is still here. I have a 100% copy of it.
let's say we're working on the same thing.
Yep.
I'm on my branch, you're on your branch.
Yep.
You push it to the master.
Okay.
I don't do anything. Let's say I go to the master.
Yep.
Could I hit get status and it would show the changes that you made to it, or to me would it still be blank because I didn't do anything to that branch?
So it will still, so like this right here, this will only show the changes for your current branch.
Okay.
There are different plugins and different ways to like enhance this, but if you just do a get status, it'll just say what branch you're on and what files you have checked out and stuff like that. For tonight's homework, you will be making a branch of your project from last night. Because spoiler, you're gonna refactor your weather API to use classes.
Say it again.
Or you're gonna refactor your weather project from last night to use classes. It'll make sense in about half an hour. Because that's what we're gonna be doing. So branching, at the very highest level, we're making a copy of our code that we can muck around in and mess up and fix and enhance without affecting the master.
So like that's how like on websites, if you go to like a banking website, it'll still be like there, but then it'll have a message that's like you can't log into this thing or whatever because that's like their branch that they're working on without crashing the whole website.
Yes. So like their main website is master with saying, hey, this feature's coming, whatever, like we're logging in. Behind the scenes, their developers have a branch called fix login or whatever it is, who's hacking away at it furiously, saying, I gotta fix the login. Then once he's fixed it, it's gonna merge back into master. Cool. Star Wars. Not Star Wars. Also, not Star Wars. This is Star Wars. Yeah, right. So, the first thing that we want to do is start to identify where our classes will be.
So you open the branch.
Yes,
Just looks exactly the same.
exactly. The only difference is that now down here, it says OOP refactoring instead of master.
So you're basically committing the old one, working on a new one without committing it.
Yep.
If everything goes fine, you push it to the other one.
Yep.
If not, you just go back to the old commit.
Yeah, like if
Not the branch and master now.
like in half an hour, if I go, oh crap,
Yeah, this.
this is terrible, this is not going to help, I can delete this branch, go back to master, and start again.
So isn't it just as similar to just kind of committing?
It is. It's another level of committing.
Yeah, just a second ladder.
We're probably more organized with it.
More organized and easier to go back. So, we want to make a class here. We want to refactor this to be a class. What is the main idea that we're doing here?
Searching.
Searching.
Yeah.
So we're searching the API, right?
Mhm.
So let's make a new class that abstracts and encapsulates all of our API searching logic. that sound good?
Mhm.
So, what do we want to call that?
Class search.
Class search. Does that sound good? Okay. It has a constructor. What would go in the constructor? So what goes in the constructor is what we need to make the class work. So going back to our cat example, we need to know what his name was and what his happiness level was for that class to work. So here, what do we need our class to work?
The name, the zip code, search,
The guy's
and then the
person's name.
weather.
Star Wars, not.
Oh, we can do Star Wars.
We're back at swapping. So the guy's name.
Okay.
So that's a good idea. That's an idea. So we would do, so it's not really the name. Let's make it a bit more generic. How about the search term?
We got a typo there, but also, you capitalize classes?
Yes.
URL.
So we need to
Fetch
know.
URL.
So the fetch URL, is that something that's going to be coming from outside the object? No.
Inside the class.
It's going to be inside the class, but we can still set it up inside of the constructor. So this dot, we'll do six real fast. Search term, this dot, search URL equals.
URL.
Let's grab this. Plus search term. Anything else? Nope, good.
Well, for this is only people, but what if you want to do vehicle and everything? Would you want to split that URL to
So-
have it one strictly for people, strictly for
So we're gonna put a pin in that, and ask me that in 10 minutes. Because we're gonna build this, then refactor it to use.
For everything else.
Yep. So now, constructor. Nothing really else that we need here. So what can this class do? It can actually search, right?
Fetch.
So we're going to call it search. Or send search, get search results. Just to kind of a little bit more meaning. Now inside of here, this is where we're going to do our fetch. So I'm actually going to be super lazy. And just copy and paste this. Because we know that this code works. I'm not refactoring this class yet. So I just know it works. I'm going to put it all inside of here. Okay? So, close you up. That's pretty good. Right? We have a class. It knows what it's searching for and where it's going. Then we can execute our search results. So now let's use this class.
So right now, it's not being used, you just set it up.
Correct.
If you, you open back up your, search result. Does it, so your fetch is your underscore URL?
Ooh, good catch. So
Search
instead of,
URL.
what should it be?
Should we search URL?
Yep. This dot.
You don't need a constant run to get search results or anything?
Nope, because remember this is a method that is on the class. So now let's use it. So down here, we already have our search event here, right? So we that's fine to keep. And now we want to do, we don't need this anymore, right? Don't need this anymore. Now we want to use our class, so API search equals new search. And we pass it the user input. So now we're saying, yeah, so now we're saying, hey, I want you to make a new search based off of this user input. And then I want you to execute it, to actually do the search. Do you want to see if this works?
Do you delete the main or you use it for anything?
Oh, I'm not doing that. Nope, I can get rid of that.
Scroll back up.
Yeah, so you have the event, the blur.
Yep.
Triggers a search attribute.
Yep.
Which is, at the same time triggers a class.
Where did you get user input from? You wouldn't want to replace that with search term, since that's what they put in the search term.
Those names don't look the same.
If you open the class for
So here we're getting it from the DOM, and then we're passing whatever is in from the DOM into our search. So whenever we get here, it's going to actually become search term.
Oh, okay, I see what we did there. Never mind. Yeah. It's because it's the input. It's not user input. So
Yep.
that's-
So why wouldn't search
Yeah.
API be inside the search class too, since it's part of the search? I know how it works here and it's outside, but
So why would we not put there? Because this is really the search API event. So now we're dealing with events. This doesn't care about the events. The events is one level above it, so to speak.
okay.
So it may seem a little weird, like, oh, but the event has to deal with the search, right? Well, not really, because this event doesn't necessarily have to trigger that search class.
So it turned the 50 lines of code into 5 lines of code with stuff in the back.
Yes. So now this is doing the same thing as what it did before, but like this is now all that I care about. And so now Dino could make a search class, and I could use his search class without caring how he's searching. So he could use fetch, he could use XML or HTTP request, he could pull down everything in the constructor and query it locally. Like,
But this is, I'm sorry,
no, go.
great tool for the lazy developer, right? So
Yep.
we can just, instead of copy pasting small snippets of code into mine, we'll just know, hey,
Yep.
the whole search and then I'll do my event, whatever
Yes.
event I want, I'll just use whatever search.
Yeah, this is a really good lazy developer tool because now I'm standing on my own shoulders and I get to reuse code that I've written and code that everyone else has written without caring how it's implemented.
That's what I was thinking. It's kind of useful for when you have multiple people working on the same project. So that way you can just see their class and say, okay, I just see the user class.
So like me and Dino were building this, I'd be like, hey Dino, I need a search class that takes a search term and has one method on it called get search results. I'll worry about the UI, the HTML, CSS, and the event handler if you build me a class that does that.
So the HTML5 geolocation API uses, like, one of the functions in there was get location, I think. So would that be a method of class of some sort?
Yep. So we're ready to see if this works.
What is API search? Oh wait, never mind. I see the line before.
All right. So I've not started this up yet. So, anything in the console? Nothing in the console. And if I type Luke, hey, it still works. That's kind of cool. That's nice. So now what do I do? Commit.
This is just committing to the branch, right?
Yeah, so this is committing to a branch. Now I've made one commit to my branch oop refactor. Now, what I can do is I could go back to my console. If I get checkout master, I'm going to switch back to my master branch. And now if I head to the code is back to what it was before. Completely untouched.
So you push it, right?
I could, but I'm not done yet. So I'm going to head back to my oop refactor.
You wouldn't push it until the feature was all the way.
Yeah, there's one more refactor that I want to do, as well as do what Dan says and make this being able to search other APIs, not just the PPs. There's two more things I still have left to do.
Other APIs or other API and
Other API endpoints.
So for ours, it would be like, we'd have to do one on each one, like we have one for the temperature, we have one for the like weather forecast, whatever, things like that. We would have to do one class for each of those.
I mean, you could, or you can have one class called Weather API
Okay.
that has a method that's where, like, in the constructor, you might get the results, and then inside you have a method that says get temperature and get weather. You can have a method that says get search results. Kind of how you organize it, like how you want your class to act, entirely up to you. Does that make sense? Ish.
Ish.
do you define all attributes in the constructor?
You don't have to, but you should.
Okay.
Because remember, this is just a dynamic object, as are all objects in JavaScript, and I can dynamically add stuff to it. But if I look at the constructor, I should see at least a reasonably close picture, if not 100% close picture, to what all that class has.
When you say it's a dynamic object, you're saying that, like, you could do whatever the object is called, dot, whatever attribute you want to say equals this, even if it's not in the class.
Correct. So, like, if I would, like, have, like, in this example, I have dot search term. If I misspell search term, I now have search term spelled right and search term spelled wrong somewhere. Just to kind of see that in action. API dot search term and API search dot search term. Even though this typo doesn't exist, I can still set it and use it here. So, like, this is still valid, this will still run, and now I've created a new attribute or new property on my class called this. So when you do typos, you're creating new properties on classes.
Is it permanent to the class? So when you go back to your code, it'll literally say this dot S-A-A-A-A-E.
It's not that kind of permanent.
Okay.
It's anywhere after the search term. Let's get rid of the, get rid of you. All right, so now we refactored our searching into something a bit more manageable. Inside of this get search results, we have a lot going on here as well. This fetch is good. This is good as well. And this is good because it deals directly with this fetch. Well, let's take a look at what's going on down here. So how can we refactor this to be a bit better?
Jim, a class for adding allies,
We're adding allies. So what are we doing here actually? Let's
updating the DOM,
with
I call
the
it.
input.
Person's attributes.
a person's attributes. So let's make a new people. Let's make a new class called a person. Because now we're starting to deal with people. So we're going to do class And now this person, everything that deals with a person is going to be inside of this class. So properties, any properties we get back from the API. Creating a DOM element for a person is going to be inside of this object as well. So let's create a person class. So constructor, what do we need to know for a person?
In this example.
Hair, eye
hair,
color.
name.
Yeah, and we can even make it more API friendly by just passing in the entire properties. So we can say constructor. A person has attributes, characteristics. Characteristics. Whole. Yeah. So now we want to get DOM element. Or something a bit less awkward, let's call it render. So what do I want to return? What DOM element do I want to return whenever I render this person? Rendering is just printing something out to the screen.
All the characteristics of the API.
Yeah, so it would be this mumbo jumbo, right? All the allies that we're creating and stuff like that. So let's take this mumbo jumbo, probably starting right here.
You missed a line. The parent and child.
I'm getting there. Because, and the reason why I'm getting there, so Lexi brought up, hey, I missed this. That's not directly related to that person action. Because this person is only getting the HTML for the person. It doesn't care where that HTML is going.
Is it okay that you pulled that from the other class?
Yeah.
It's because you're just gonna put that class back in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where that big hole that I just left down there, I'm going to fill with this.
Oh, okay, so that's the happening, the action or whatever, and then the child is like where it would go. So that doesn't care where it goes. It's just like this is what's gonna happen.
Yep.
And then
So let's go in and use now what's going on. So now instead of person.name, it's this.characteristics.name. Actually, better yet, const.
Why wouldn't you put that in? Why wouldn't you put this.name, this.iCode, and this.haircolor on the constructor?
Up here, I could, but I'm trying to. I mean, I could.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering, but we don't
Yeah.
have to do it.
Yeah. So like what Chris is saying, could I do like this.name equals characteristics.name?
You're gonna do
I
like
could.
12 or 15.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
then
know
it's like
how much the API
I'd be copying
is.
over everything from the API.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not doing hair color,
So here I'm just saying, hey, person equals this.characteristics, which is set up here in the constructor. So down here, now I can do person.name, person.iColor, person.haircolor, and so forth. And then from this render, the only thing that I want to do, I want to return my LI.
Characteristics is an object
Yes.
in the API.
Mhm. So I'm saying, hey, take my characteristics, build me up the LI, the ULs, the H4s, and the H6s, and build it up and return to me that LI. Okay, so far so good. So down here, we can do, let's kind of refresh what we're doing here. We're saying for each search results, we're doing a for each for the person. So now instead of creating and dealing all the mumbo jumbo, we just want to do const p equals new person. And we can append child p.render.
Because render is returning the li.
Remember, render is returning a li, so it's returning a DOM element. I'm just saying, hey, for each person, for each result that's in my search results, create a new person based off of that. And then person.render. So for that array of objects that's coming in from our API, we're going to create a new person that we've defined, a new class person. Then for each person, we're going to render out, get the HTML for that person, and put it into our DOM. How does that feel?
Just a matter of knowing where to put things at. Terms is a lot. Where to put them in the rest of your stuff.
Yeah.
Can you show me render?
Yeah.
What the render does? Okay, so the render did all this.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So now my search class doesn't care how we render a person or what it looks like. So now me as a developer can go and be like, oh, I only want to modify what a person looks like. I don't care how we're getting it. I don't care about it. I just want to deal with a person and that's it.
So you can do it one object at a time.
Mm-hmm. So instead of dealing like, oh, now I have a giant main.js file. What did I name this over here? What's this going on over here? It's like, I only care about this.
Little white one.
Yeah. Cool. So now, gonna commit.
What didn't work?
Oh. Yes, it works. Still works. So I'm going to commit refactored person. So now that I've done what I've set out to do, I refactored my code to be ooped. So now it's more object oriented. Yeah, ooped. Ooped.
And just coming back a little bit.
Yeah.
By Monday, we're gonna have main JS, and then we're gonna have the person in a different JS, and the search in a different one.
Yep.
Or each class will have its own
File. Yeah.
So main JS is gonna be 7 lines of this.
Yep.
That's it.
So main.js will be what's orchestrating everything. Then all your logic and everything else will be in separate class files.
How would you call it? Person JS, search JS? Or,
How would you reference it?
no. I mean, would you call those files like that?
Yep.
Person, the name of the class.
We're not quite there yet. Because that orchestration and combining it is a bit, that's what React does for us.
Would you reference it from the main HTML, or are you going to reference them from the main JS?
So HTML will point to a main.js,
Uh-huh.
and then that main.js will point to everything else. So I've committed. I want to merge this back into master now. So get status, nothing to commit. So I'm going to get checkout master. All right. Now get merge Refactor.
So you had to go back to the master
Yep.
and then just call it.
It's not a push per se. It's more of a pull.
So it's not pull request.
Right. That's
It's a
some
different thing.
pull request is something that goes through GitHub, saying, "Hey, my branch is ready to go. I want you to pull in my changes."
Okay.
Instead of doing this all locally, that's doing it through GitHub.
Oh, okay. Because you were the one that you were the one that branched it, so you can merge it. But if somebody else branches it, they have to request.
Yeah,
it.
like if we're working on a team kind of thing,
Yeah.
like you have to go through with the approval process, stuff like that.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. So you say it's going to fast forward, updating the commit. It says I changed some stuff. I changed a file, inserted 50 things, deleted 36 things.
So our refactor actually make it bigger, but at the same time make it more useful to
Yep.
use tomorrow. So in this particular case, in one case, it'll make it.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So now we've refactored it. We merged it back in. I want to now refactor this search to be able to work with multiple different endpoints. Because if we recall, we have searching for the planets, searching for the vehicles, and searching for the people. Right? We can do different kinds of search.
Are you gonna work for master now? Just
I'm going to branch and work on the branch. So,
delete the other one and.
yep. So if I want to delete the other one because it's already merged in, get branch D, Refactor. You now see it's gone. All of our changes are now in master, so we don't need it anymore. We pruned our tree.
So git branch, so refactor too.
Git branch is an LS.
Yeah.
Of sort.
Yep.
And then so git branch, and then the name of the branch creates it.
Yep.
And then git branch -d creates it.
Yep. So I want to create a branch, and I want to check out to that branch. I'm going to show you all a shortcut to make your lives a little bit easier. Git checkout -b, multiple endpoints. Git checkout -b, then the branch name will check out that, will create that branch, and then check out that branch.
So you can start coding.
Yeah, so I can start coding immediately.
Where's the -b written?
Branch. It says create that branch. So see now it created me a new branch called multiple endpoints, and I'm already on it. So this is just a shortcut for these two lines. This line and yeah, it's this line and this line.
Would you mind putting that on
What?
GitHub? Or would you mind putting that somewhere?
Yeah, it might be in tonight's homework.
Okay.
It just might be. Yeah. Yeah, tonight's homework, you'll be working on a branch, so yeah. Multiple endpoints. So now let's think about this for a second. If I wanted to search multiple endpoints, I can either do it in one box or I can do it with multiple boxes. Input boxes. So we'd have a search by name box or a search for vehicle box or a search by planet box. Does that sound good? All right, so head over to our HTML, copy this, search for planet. Planet, vehicle. And we'll make this name. Still all displaying the same search results, which is fine. Now down here, we need to update our search by name. So I'm kind of renaming a few things to make it a bit cleaner.
Also the input value. If you did rename symbol, would it do it every file?
Not every file.
Just that file.
Just whatever it can find in relationship to that. So it might, but I wouldn't count on it. So I've added my 3 text boxes. I need 3 different events for those text boxes, right? Were you gonna say something?
If you go back
You good?
Yeah, you can do 3 more blurs.
I was thinking you could just do, instead of search name event, comma, you can be able to do all 3 of them, but you couldn't because.
Because these are gonna be different. So planet and vehicle. Search by vehicle event and search by planet event. So we'll do search by planet. Now it's going to look a lot like this, right? So we'll just copy this, except planet. So now we're ready to update our classes. I mean, questions with how we got to where we are? We just mimicked everything we're doing. We're saying now we're going to search by planets. So now in our constructor, we want to be able to change this out.
Okay.
It's just searching people.
Correct.
Is it okay that in search by name event and search by, if you go down a little bit, search by name event and search by planet event, API search is a new search. It's an object with the same name.
Yes.
2 different objects with the same name.
Yep.
That's okay.
Yep, that's fine, because we're in different scopes. Because we're creating them locally, not globally. We can reuse the name.
It's only gonna be used when that event is activated. So
Yep.
One event is activated, the other is not, so.
That's true.
Correct. So now, we want to do, instead of just search term, we also want to do endpoint. Because if I recall, swappy.co documentation, vehicles, it's /vehicles. And it is question mark. Search equals, hey, works. So the only thing that's different, oh, that's off the screen. That's sad. The only thing that's different is instead of people, it's search. It's vehicles. Oh,
Can I get another coaster?
thank you. Thank you, sir. Perfect. Thank you.
Ish.
Ish.
What's the endpoint?
Where did the endpoint go? Somewhere. Oh, constructed.
I'm saying now my search also has to know which endpoint that I'm searching.
So now you have to, on your name by event, don't you have to add a separate?
Yep.
User input, well, that's planet.
Yep.
Named it planet. But you can just easily make the other one now too, just by changing planet.
And just a good thing, it's so easy to just add to it.
Yep.
So this is how you can get out of using booleans to say yes, I'm searching by name of pet,
Mm-hmm.
or yes, or
Yep.
yes, yeah.
And we'll hit one more roadblock in about 5 minutes that we'll overcome as well. So now we're searching by planet. Actually, don't see if it works. Because that should work. Actually, we're going to refactor this a little bit too. That string building is getting a bit complex and getting a little bit hard to read and maintain. So let's switch it up and use string interpolation to make it a bit cleaner.
That's, but I didn't understand that yesterday.
So I'm going to first off, yeah. So we're going to. I'm just going to comment out this line. This dot search URL equals, now instead of single quotes, we're going to use backticks. Then I want to grab this, because that's still coming over. And now I want to put endpoint, the variable endpoint, inside of the middle of that string. So money sign squiggles, and then endpoint. Slash search equals money sign search term.
Basically, anything that can change as a money sign.
Yep. So these two lines are functionally equivalent. I would argue that the top one, the string interpolation, is a bit more cleaner. Because I'm just saying, here's my URL, here's what I'm doing, but that is entirely subjective. All right.
It's not day and night cleaner, but it's.
Yeah, like it's for me it is, because now like I know like what my string. I don't have to worry about like my pluses. Do I need a space here? Do I need a slash here? Stuff like that. Like it's all right there for me. It more closely resembles what I'm going to get on the output, which I like. So that being said, I want to search, going for my planet. Search for a planet. Ooh, uncaught reference. Womp.
I'm not using that.
Yeah, I'm not using that yet. So search for a planet. Search for Y. So I'm getting a 404.
Anywhere else bad.
So is it planet?
Or planet.
Planets.
Planets.
Planets. S. Search for planet. Ooh, status 200. Results 5. Yavin 4. Kashyyyk. A few other as well.
Split. Oh, because that doesn't make sense anymore.
So-
Planets.
Yes, so now let's go check out line 17 and see what it is.
Wasn't that when we split because they had two hair colors?
Yep. So this is inside of our person class. Have we looked at the sources tab yet?
Not really.
So we've lived in the elements tab in the dev console, right? We've also lived in the console of the dev console. Now we're going to get into the sources tab. We're going to expand our life a little bit more. This is what resources and what files does my website have. So now this is our main JS file. It should look very similar to what's over in our VS Code. This is what the browser is actually running.
So you could go in here and try and fix things just in here. If you wanted to, it wouldn't actually mess up your code
Right,
on the other side.
right. So it's saying that this line gave me an error that says cannot read properly split of undefined. So it's trying to read hair color of a planet, which is not defined. So that's not good. So head over here. So our display logic.
We had a Boolean there.
So there are a couple ways to approach this. We can add a Boolean somewhere. If endpoint equals vehicles or something like that, do that. we could do that.
What's the issue right now? It's
Is that we're creating a new person for a planet.
And it's got some
Oh.
The AP characteristics, there's a third column for the person.
And inside of here,
So
yep.
can't
Inside
find
of
anything
here.
there.
So we've either A, abstracted wrong, or B, need to abstract more. Whichever way we take it is kind of, it's up to you however you want to get it working. Because one option is we've made a person class, right? Is now we make a planet class. And then we can pass in a function into our get search result function that says how do we actually display it.
Practically copy paste and just delete that part that doesn't
Yes,
work for us.
yes.
It will work.
So I think we'll do it that way in 7 minutes. All right. Here we go. So let's make a planet class. It's going to have some characteristics. It's also going to have a render function. And we'll copy all of this as well. Close up the person class. This would be in a separate file. Now here, the problem line of code is this thing right here, where we're splitting. So let's rename this. Planets probably don't have eye colors either.
Yeah, probably just delete all that.
So we're just gonna,
Let's do it.
whoa.
Maybe find a different characteristic to put in there.
Yeah, so we're gonna delete all of that, and we're gonna console.log this.characteristics
So what we have.
to see what we have to work with.
you planet, right?
So now down here, we need to change this. So we need to make that dynamic based on who's calling it.
User, whose event is triggering.
Mm-hmm. So we can do an if statement, or we can pass a function into it. Remember, we can pass functions around, right? We can pass numbers and letters and strings and objects. We can also pass functions around. So down here, we're going to take this. Trying to think of how I would do this. Probably up in here. We'll call this item render function. Item renderer. Yeah. So now our constructor now takes a function of how we want to render each item. So down here, we could do an anonymous function. Let's do it for a planet first. A function that takes a result and a parent. Copy this into the new function. It's a new planet. Make you comma. So now in place of our for each here, we're going to take this logic that we put down in this other function and replace it with this dot item render function with result and parent. If this is crazy, it's okay. This is kind of crazy.
Oh,
Yeah, I wouldn't expect y'all to produce this.
okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm following.
Yeah.
Follow
Well,
it.
Yeah, as long as you're following it with
As
me,
long as you turn that off,
and we're going to explore we're going to explore what's happening here a little bit deeper. But I wouldn't expect you to produce this. I expect you to kind of roughly know what's going on, to know that we're looking at a tree together. Like,
Unless
So-
it was up on YouTube, I wouldn't get it.
yes. So,
So the search, the class search.
Yep.
Has a constructor function which takes item render function.
Yep.
And at the bottom you're saying this dot item render function
pass it
passing through two values in it.
the result.
It's already had and the parent. And then in the event,
We're saying for each thing in my result, create a new planet.
can you explain an anonymous function again?
So an anonymous function is just a function that's not named. So it has parameters, it has its own scope. I just can't reuse that anyplace else.
Because it's got that.
Right, it's got no name. I'm just saying, hey, create me a function right here in this line of code. I don't want to use it anywhere else, and I can't reference back to it.
In my
So let's see if this works. Here's the console. I didn't get I got an error. So search for a planet. Well, it didn't crash.
Didn't crash. It just didn't have pen.
Yeah, so let's see.
But it
Search
did
result.
have pen, but it didn't show anything.
So it should be name. So why did name not happen? Oh, I'm never appending it to my LI.
Pen child name.
Oh. It's like, what's going on there?
You know, we changed it again. Gonna do condoms.
There it is. Planet dot.
Aha. So now we have our planet name. We know what we're working with.
See if search by name works.
So do we think search by name is going to work?
I was gonna send it somewhere else.
No, because we didn't do it yet.
Oh.
It's going to crash. So now we will. So the reason why it crashed is that here, this search class, the one for the planets, has the anonymous function of how to actually display the kids. This one up here doesn't have that. So let's create an anonymous function that tells that search object how to display the kids. So this is going to be result and parent. And it will be what we had before, const person result, and then parent dot append child item.
Dot.
Yes. Dot render. Render. So now if I come over here and I type in a person's name, I'll get everything that we did yesterday. If I search for a planet,
It's on the bottom.
Yeah, it's in the bottom.
oh yeah, it's on the bottom because we're just appending. So if I wanted to clear that, my search results, parent dot text content equals. So now search for L, boop, search for L, Luke, search for planet.
I was trying to figure
That
out
took
how
time
it
because
was
the API wasn't returning as fast.
Yep.
So then you can get stuff crazy like find me people that are from this planet.
I mean,
Don't do that.
No.
yeah.
So-
Are you
Don't
sure?
do that.
Are you sure? We can do it and. So yeah. So because actually, I think if I open this Kashyyyk residence, there we go.
There you
Each planet has residence, which is its own API call.
go.
So I'm guessing that's Chewbacca and who's 80? Who else is from Kashyyyk?
Chewbacca was very chic.
Let's do that.
Kashyyyk is the Wookiee town, the Wookiee. Harful.
Tarful's his wife.
I was gonna say, yeah, isn't that Rogue One or Revenge of the Sith? Oh, jeez.
More than one.
Wait, what?
That was this has films.
Yeah, it has.
And it shows all the characters in the film. Oh, wow.
So the 80 is a lot of people, actually.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
So that's the general of the Kashyyyk army.
So what's it like to build an API like this? I mean, this takes a really long time.
Yes, building a RESTful API takes a lot of time, and like data like this, like they need to like know the data. They need to be like properly hook the data. So somebody built themselves a UI and tools to make building this data structure easy.
They make money on this.
They don't make money on this, nope. Unless you want to donate.
Yeah, but Star Wars can make sure everything's standardized. All over, and people start.
Yeah, so it's now all like
They
the.
want to make sure everything is standardized for that.
Yes.
You don't get it wrong.
Do they not have Rogue One? Oh my. A New Hope. Attack of the Clones. Phantom Menace. Revenge of the Sith. Return of the Jedi. Empire Strike Back. Force Awakens. They don't have Rogue One.
It's not part of the official stuff.
Disney.
It's Rogue One is debatably one of the best Star Wars movie.
It is pretty
Like hands
good.
down. I said debatably because like
But it's not part of the 6 chapters.
it's
right?
not it's in the same universe, and it's still canon.
Maybe
Anyways,
that's why it's not there.
I'm going to use that as an excuse. I like that.
Can you check vehicles to see if they have Vanguard? That's what my company's called.
Vehicles.
Are we done with that?
It probably isn't. It only shows in like one
Yeah.
scene.
Oh yeah,
The
we're
troop
done.
carrier. It's that big, huge troop
Yeah.
carrier. It's only in like
Yeah, it's in one scene and that's it.
Vanguard Republic Trans.
Yeah, yeah.
So Vanguard then.
Gus, you're gonna do salad?
Nice.
Or what?
Yeah.
$20 is over.
That's good.
Come on.